All right, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on? Great brother said, what do you think gonna make the game upset and fresh simple? Today I'm not gonna just focus on the GASP, this version here. So I discovered one thing is that when I disable the TwoBoneIK is, as you can see right here. So when I press on play, as you can see, if you get the rifle, which is the one that has the IK working, as you can see, if I crouch and wait for the character to go to the relaxed position, but in the crouched mode, as you can see, the character's arm, the shoulder dislocates a little bit upwards, and that could be fixed with disabling the TwoBoneIK. So when you press play now and wait for the character to pick up the rifle, as you can see, now the character's elbow dislocates a little bit forward when you don't have the TwoBoneIK. And as you can see, if I crouch and then try to aim and then wait for the character to go back to the relaxed pose, as you can see, it works. So it's just a matter of, changing the alpha value of the TwoBoneIK, having separate floats variables for those two specific bones. And I believe the fabric node already does the job. It pretty much places the hand on where it should be. As you can see, if I move up on the vertical axis, as you can see, the left hand, which needs to be holding the rifle, is set. So even if you move or move fast, the hand is going to be attached to it. If you enable the TwoBoneIK, it works the same, but the elbow, when you move up and down, as you can see right here, there is a little snapping effect on the left character's hand, and that could be an issue. So it's just a matter of, you know, changing the alpha values to better fit each node. So right now it's just a matter of, you know, getting those float values to be set to 0 or 1, depending on which state the character is currently. And the effective transform, I believe it's going to change depending on which weapon you have. Because if you go back to the sandbox character, as we followed the last tutorial before, we have the get left hand IK transform, but this is just for the rifle. Let me just see how the bow works. So if you hold the bow like this, all right. Get the arrow. As you can see right here, now I think I'm going to need the IK for the right hand, holding the arrow, because sometimes when I crouch, for example, the arrow, it gets through the bow, but that's going to be a very specific, you know, that's going to be after we polish everything. Yosi said that. Yosi said, yo. Yo. Do you have experience with 3D modeling and animation? No, not at all. Just locomotion stuff. That's why I prefer to hire animators, because they know how to do their job. And they're good at what they do. So, all right. What do you guys want to see here? What do you guys want to see? Let me know. I think I'm going to change these. Not change, but I think I'm going to create a new float variable. One is going to be called TwoBoneIK, so TwoBoneIK, and that's going to be a float value. And I'm going to select another float variable, which is going to be called fabric. I'm going to set that to be in here, so I'm going to drag and drop, and I cannot. Oh yeah, I can only get. So I'm going to get the fabric node. I'm going to delete all this. And I only want to enable the fabric node on a specific state of the animation. And I'm going to explain you guys later how to do it. Now, the purpose of this devlogs is just to show what I'm doing and to document everything in a way that, you know, it serves as, if anyone is wondering how to do things, how to enable this, disable that, probably someone is going to download this project in the future when everything is done, and they're gonna wanna go back to what I've exactly done, what were my ideas behind on each node, on doing each thing. So the purpose of this devlogs is just to show what I'm doing right now, so that people who are really interested to learn how things work inside can watch this devlogs to see really how everything works and what are my ideas behind each purpose of with each node. So I'm gonna have to enable this alpha values inside each animation right now. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of job, but so because of that, I'm just going to show you how we're going to do it, because this is going to be very long because we have a lot of animation states that we have to work with. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have to create a new curve name, and we're going to be enabling these two nodes right here through curves. So basically what we're going to try to do is, in the event graph, as you can see, oh, well, it's so hard to explain this. Why? My current place said, yo bro, I want to start to learn Unreal. Where should I start from? You can start from buying Udemy courses. I think they are great. I bought, I think, 2 Udemy courses, one for learning blueprints and one for learning C++. Both of them are good. And I've learned a lot, but I think I could absorb 100% of the content because I already know how to do things and I already have the knowledge. So basically seeing them explain, it's like they have a different perspective of, you know, I think it's like learning something more in depth, and I think you should buy them. Yeah, Stephen something could be one, I don't know. But maybe you're going to basically go to Udemy and search for the best blueprint course, which have more than 5,000 students, 5,000 course sold from the teacher, and you're going to get that one, which has more stars, more than 4.4 stars. So you can just basically buy a blueprint course from there. Because I don't have a course right now, I'm trying to make one. And yeah, so if I already had the course, I would recommend you to buy my course. If you want to learn how to develop with Unreal Engine using blueprints and also want to develop locomotion stuff, that's what I do. So let me just see. Stephen, yeah, Stephen. I think Stephen is very famous from what I'm seeing in the comments. That's really interesting. I think that's the best selling course, right? Yeah. Macros. Yeah, those courses are definitely paid. You're going to definitely pay something like, if you live in the US, you're going to pay something like $20 in the offer day. They often do sales day, something like this, promotions. But if there's no promotion, there's no offer, you're going to probably pay $100, something like this. $473,000 total learners. I think that's the total amount of learners from all the courses, right? From all the courses he has built. ARM and AK. Yeah, if you actually want to learn, you're going to watch all the live streams. I pass a lot of knowledge through those live streams that some things people don't teach out there. Blend and set HandIK weights to ensure they are only weight if allowed by the arm layers. As you can see, the IK is not working right now. Because I've set in the animation graph, I basically want to change this value from 0 to 1 based off on a curve value. So to set the curve value name is going to be TwoBoneIK. And I basically want to see which pose currently the character is when he's holding the rifle like this. So as you can see, we are in the relaxed state. Again, he's off of his arm. So I'm going to go to the relaxed pose. As you can see, we have a lot of animations. That's why I'm going to spend a little bit of time to make this. Maybe not, but as you can see, it's running this animation here, which is called pose rifle stand relax idle. As you can see, the character's left arm is not attached to the gun. It's not holding the gun. It's very much off. And then what I'm going to do in here on this animation, I'm going to double click on that, open it up, and I'm going to add a new curve. The curve name is going to be TwoBoneIK. And remember that this curve name has to be the same name that we do in the, where is it? On the update layer values. So we have a function called update layer values. If you go to the event graph, as you can see right here, after the blueprint update animation, which is running on the HandIK, after all of those functions, we have this. Yeah, we have a little bit of mess in here because I should create a function to store all these variables that are promoted. And after that, we get the update layer values, which we basically update these float values depending on the animation curve that is being played. that is being set. So be sure to select the same name in here. This is basically a macro. Yeah, there's a lot to explain, but this is basically a macro which you can get by dragging dropping. Just pause this for a second. Which you can basically drag and drop it by doing this. The reason why it's like this and not like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I think it's going to break everything. But the reason why it's not like this and it's like this is because Caleb, I think Caleb did this. But basically what you're going to do is just here on the compact node title, you're going to type like, I don't know, you're going to type anything, maybe do a little thing there, underline, I don't know, and then press enter. And as you can see, now the macro is like this. Now this is just a way to make the macro more compact. But I think you cannot add the inputs. Let me see if you can add an execution input in here. Yeah, you can. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. So yeah, you can make you can basically make the macros compact. And I'm going to do the same thing for the fabric. I'm going to basically copy the fabric name and add the knee curve there. Fabric. So I think for this one, I'm going to add going to press on enter, and I'm going to add a new value in here. Let's say 1. I'm going to enable all for all on both for the TwoBoneIK and the fabric. Now press on play. And as you can see, when I run, of course, it's not enabled. So as you can see, now it's fixed. The arm is fixed with the BoneIK. Maybe it's not 100% correctly placed in there, but that's for making it perfect. You need a lot more time to do it. But now when you run, as you can see, it changes the animation in here on the layering system. So you're gonna have to basically copy those curves from here and paste those curves in the other animations. So you're just going to, you can just basically select any curve in here and then press Ctrl V, or just right click and paste. Let me just see if I can have an option to do that. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. All right. So as you can see when I run, it's a little bit weird because of the IK. So if you disable the TwoBoneIK to be 0 or maybe half blend, 0, press on play. Now the bone is glitching. Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. The stuff that local dev teaches requires you to have a good understanding of the basics. Yeah. That's why I recommend courses from people who have a very good rating on the Udemy, so that you can understand the basics and come back to the live. It's all up to you. See if I crouch. Just going to play this animation, and I need to have those curves in there. So, but the TwoBoneIK, I'm going to disable it. I'm only going to disable. Let me just see if I stand. As you can see, the bone is distorted, it's twisted. If I start moving, it's even worse. Now if I disable that curve called, which one? I think it was TwoBoneIK, and then set it to be 0. Now the problem is gone. I think that's how you should set up the IK system. Adar said, do you work somewhere in any company or something? Right now, no. I'm only working with Patreon projects, with these projects right here, and I'm trying to apply for a company, but let's see what's gonna happen. I have to do some tests to... Basically, my task is to just try to make a system to work for their project. So if I pass on that test, they're going to give me a 1 month of probatory test, and this is just 100% remote. So I'm just doing a test right now. So that's why I'm putting effort on this live streams. But even if I get hired, I'm going to continue to do these live streams because I cannot secure a job 100%. It can always be dismissed if you at any time. So I'm not 100%. I don't give 100% of my energy to companies, because I can always get fired for no reason. But if I see that the company is trustable, that could be different. Now, for now, I don't think about starting my own company. I think about only teaching for now. Maybe in the future I can make a game with I can partner with someone and try to make a game. But for now, I don't think about this. Just teaching, just to prove my skills, maybe. All right, I guess that's going to be done for now for the rifle. We don't need to do that much things in here. As long as these enable TwoBoneIK's alpha value is false, is 0, we're not going to have any problems with, you know, running. Maybe you're going to get the pistol, and that as long as this alpha value is 0, as you can see right here, 0. We're not going to have any issues with the Bone IK. I think that's going to be it for the rifle. We don't need to do really much things in here. I've just set separate values in here just for maybe if you want to have a different joint target location, which is going to be after we do, which is going to be for polishing the IK better. The IK, I think, the IK part is just for polishing the game. You don't really need to worry about it at the beginning. That's why I don't learn IKs. I just focus on the locomotion part for now, because that's the most important part. If you don't have the locomotion, you don't have the game. If you don't have the backend logic, if you don't have the game. So that's really just it. Just making the weapon shooting logic. You have to know that, how to do the pickup, drop, holster, equip logic. It's very important for you to be able to learn that, because that's what it is all about when making a game. So you really have to know that. Right now I'm going to just convert this to a animation layer, which is by basically collapsing this and making a collapse graph as we do in here. Let's say, for example, you want to collapse this. You're just going to right click and collapse it to nodes. And then you're going to have an execution pin for the input. And if you want to have it for the output, you just drag and drop it to the outputs, and then you have the continuation of the code in here. That's what we're going to do now. For the animation blueprint sandbox character, we're going to basically, but instead of collapsing, right click and collapse. As you can see, we don't have the collapse option in here. So what you're going to do is just go to animation layers, collapse, actually add a new animation layer. For the new animation layer name, we can set it to be HandIK. Doesn't really matter. HandIK. As you can see, we have the output pose, and where is the input pose? Oops. I'm doing things very fast. So here you're going to click on the HandIK, and as you can see on the right side, on the details panel, you have the inputs. So you're going to add a new input pose. It's very important. So as you can see, we're going to have a lot of things in here. I don't know what the things are for. Blending time -0, -1.0. I have no idea what this is. I don't touch that. But here in the inputs, you're going to name the inputs such as, I don't know, just in pose. This linked in input pose name is already exists in this blueprint. Pre-HandIK maybe. And then for the output pose, we don't choose that. So we're going to go back to the overlay layer. Wait, I'm lost in here. Let me just close everything here. Go back to the animation graph and just cut. But before cutting things and pasting, you always have to remember to save things. So I'm just going to compile. I'm going to hit Ctrl-Shift-S to save everything. If there is any asset to be saved, it's going to save everything. I'm going to just select all the HandIK part, and I'm going to cut by pressing Ctrl-X, and then go to the HandIK animation layer. Going to give it a space, and I'm going to just Ctrl-V to paste that HandIK. So compile, save. As you can see, now my character entered in the A pose, but that's okay. Now the code is in here. Go back. Now what we're going to do is just going to drag and drop our the animation layer. Drag and drop it to the graph. And I'm going to just plug that into here. It's the same thing that we do with the collapse graph. I don't know, I'm gonna have to expand this. If you want to redo, if you don't want the collapse graph anymore, you can just right click on the collapse graph and then click on expand node. So that's going to give you back the code, and it's going to delete the collapse graph. Adarsh Gupta, I'm new to game dev and I would love to know about your journey. Why don't make a video on that? For me, it's not really me, it's not really my priority right now. But I can think about doing it. I have a very long story. Apply HandIK, anim, add through anim curves. There we go. Nice and clean. No, it's not frustrating for me. I think it depends on each person's personality. But for me, I don't get stressed easily or get mad easily. I'm a very chill person. Chill person. The episode for the pickups, I don't really remember. Probably after 2022 from there. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now. I have no idea. What do you guys suggest? Any ideas on what to do now? Scope. I think that's going to be for polishing. After adding like very specific mechanics, that really doesn't make a difference. RPGs, I need the particle effect. I have a really good. I was taking a look at the system here. It looks very good. It's called Zombie Shooter Kit, version 2.8 Unreal Engine 5 starter pack. It costs 200 euros. And I think especially this zombie here is from the Mixamo. They're using the run animations are also from Mixamo. I don't know about the other zombies, but some of them are. And I think those ammos, weapons, you can get it for free on the Sketchfab. This reminds me of PUBG. The game PUBG. It's very similar. I like that the camera shakes, but not for my game. It's not going to be that much. So I have the key features. I'm not earning anything from this, by the way. I'm just making my research on what are the possible things that I can do for this project here. So from this, I can get ideas of how I can, make more systems into my project. So here I have the weapon system, melee combat system, equipment system with 9 wearable armor items, grenades. We could also get grenades, stamina system, a lot of things. Ultra realistic explosions. Customizable zombie enemies with AI. I think by customizable, I think he means by models. The models are, you can choose the models, which model you want to have. Cover, shoot, free behavior. Vehicle system. Yeah, I think the vehicle system looks very nice if you check out his YouTube channel. So I guess we can add so when the character shoots, as you can see, the arm doesn't move realistically, as we see in the weapon system premium. So if I pick up the weapon, as you can see, we have the arm going up and down. And you also have the shooting sound effect when the character shoots. Boom. We have that as well. So there are many ways you can do that animation of the character shooting, making his arm to move on the vertical axis. Because everything that he does in here is just basically, if you get the aim pistol or handgun, let's just see, handgun. Yeah, pistol. Where's the pistol? Everything he does in here is basically get the hand R and then just rotate it. Like this. That's all I do. Of course, you're gonna have to know how to do that in the code. But that's essentially everything I do. And there's also some part, for example, in the lower arm, I can also move that if you want to. So you can move both arms just like this and then like this. You know, if you want to have more control, that's up to you. And then if you want, you can also move like this. No, and the upper arm like this. You know, if you want to have more realism. So to do that, you can use the TwoBoneIK as well. In the sandbox character, we have the shooting system, which as you can see here, those are the variables that changes to 0 to 1. Which means if the alpha equals to 1, they're going to be applied. So let me just compile this. If I pick up the gun, so as you can see, if the alpha is 1, the character's arm is going to do this. It's going to go... Boop. That's the target location that we have. Now if it goes to 0, then the character is going to just make the arm to just stand. If you set it to be 0. So if you aim, as you can see, the arm is going to be right in the middle. And if the target is aiming up, then we can just basically make a float that will go from 0 to 1 in a timeline. So, which is going to have this effect in here. Of course, you can add more bones into here to make it more realistic, or if you want to also rotate the arm more up, you can also do that by changing these values. But I'm not sure if I'm going to basically transform the bone or play an animation. I'm still thinking about it. That's why I haven't made the system yet, because I'm still thinking about if it's going to be more realistic playing the animation. But for that, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to download some animations, some shooting animation effects. So we're gonna have to search it out. Maybe in Lyra, if you search for Lyra UE5, it has very good animations, especially for the pistol. Or we could, yeah, so there are two ways of doing the weapon animation when you're shooting. You could either do it this way, where you can just, change the rotation of the bone so that the character's arm move up and down as soon as you shoot. So just to give that impact effect. Or we could use a animation and play that as an additive animation. Or we could just blend, or we could just hire an animator to do it, or we could just use the animation of the shooting effect, add it as a additive, or use the layering, and also use the transform modify bone, which is also going to have that little refinement and polishing effect. So we have a lot of options. And the problem in here, yeah, I think this problem is from the shoulder is dislocating, but that's okay. That's just a problem in the other project. We don't have the ALS layering system in here. That's why we have this issue. And the problem with this project is that if you try to shoot a lot of time, so let's say it's not going to really hit the target, but nobody's going to shoot with a pistol like that. So I'm still thinking about the recoil effect and all the stuff, so I think it's better to think a little bit before doing stuff. Because otherwise you're just doing stuff for making it to work rather not to learn how to actually do something that makes sense to be done and not waste time doing stuff just for doing. Yeah, the recoil system is going to be after we make the shooting animations. Let me enable back the blue line trace, which I like very much. And let's start location. Okay, that's very good. So play. So if I pick up a weapon, as you can see, we're going to have a blue line trace. And that blue line trace is going to represent the location of where the crosshair is going to be in the middle of the screen. So only when you aim, the crosshair is going to appear. And as you can see, it's right in the middle of the screen. So I'm just going to write down a separate graph of things to do so that I cannot forget. And one of the things that we have to do is just decide how we should play shooting animation effects. To the pistol, rifle, bow, and any other weapon we're going to have. Because maybe we can make a system where we can also use that kind kind of same structure, but also make that structure to also make it to work for multiple other different weapons, not only for the pistol and rifle. So let's say, for example, you make a system for playing shooting animation for the pistol. You can also make that system to be modular and parameter based, so that you can also make the rifle. If you just plug in the rifle animation, it's going to work. And also for the bow. Just drink some water here. So we have another, what was the other one? So, forgot. Oh yeah, the blue line. So we're going to make the crosshair appear. Make the crosshair appear. Yeah, also change the, but this test is going to be after we change the camera. So change and remove the gameplay. The gameplay camera works really good. As you can see, we have the gameplay camera in the 5.5 version of the GASP. I don't like it because it uses the location of the capsule to make the camera to follow the character. And the problem with that is that I cannot have full control of it. I wish there could be an option to change the camera to follow the pelvis of the character, and there's no option to do that, unfortunately. Maybe here, parent socket, we can choose the pelvis. Let's see if something changes. Oh yes, that changes, okay. But now it glitches. I don't know why it glitches. Let's put it to be in the spine. 5. Oops. I think there's this debug function here, instead of getting the camera that follows the pelvis, we should get a separate camera that follows the capsule that also follows the camera, which means that we could have a even more precision camera. Because right now, as you can see, the blue line is moving a little bit with the character, but yeah, that's just minimal issues. It's just something that we can improve later. As you can see, when you stop, the aiming also moves, but I think that's pretty much okay. The blue line is very far away from the red line, and that's something that we're gonna have to fix later. As you can see, the blue line is pointing up, which is wrong. It should be pointing close where the red line is, and that's something adjustable. It's just that the pistol It's just that we're gonna have to set up parameters based on which kind of weapon you have. So basically each weapon has their own offset. So we're gonna have to basically do that. But as you can see, now as the camera follows the pelvis, now it's much more clear. We don't have any camera lag. I wish there could be an option. I wish I could learn how to set the camera lag as well. I think it's very important. Because if you set the camera lag, here in the gameplay camera, there is no lag option. And the camera lag basically makes the camera to lag. So instead of following the character right away, it's going to take a little bit of time. There's going to be a sort of delay to follow the character. The camera is going to be more slow to follow the character. And if you go to the spring arm in here, we have the enable camera lag, but I don't know if this works. So let's test it out. So by it to be 3, I think 3 is very slow for a camera. If you set it to be 1, the camera lag is not gonna work. I think we're gonna have to set up the camera lag to be set up different because we're using the gameplay camera. So as you can see, there is no such lag in here. Even if you set it to be 222, it's not going to, because 222 is the type of value that the camera should really stick with the character. But yeah, so the camera lag doesn't work, we know that. And even if you go to the gameplay camera, to the camera asset, we don't have any lag options in here. So that's, I think it's weird. Maybe ask Epic Games if they could answer us how to add the camera lag in here. But so far, I think there's no. Maybe we could just create one, but for creating one, you're gonna have to be specializing in camera related code. So I don't want to do that. Or if there is no lag option, we could just get the gameplay camera, set the actor. That's going to be a mess, but set world location or set world transform, whatever you want to do. If you set the world location to be to a certain position, you can make the camera to be in a certain position, but that's going to be a mess because it's going to be conflicting with each other. So as the camera is attached to the character, we're having that issue, but that could be solved maybe by getting as the gameplay camera is attached to the spine 5, we can get the spine 5, get socket location, spine 5, and then add a offset. I don't know if this offset is going to work or it's going to be added on the event tick. Otherwise, the camera is just going to go up and up. So if it doesn't work, the camera is going to be up and up. It's going to continue to go up. Sorry guys. So as you can see here, you can set the offset. Maybe you can add the socket or world location, get world location, and then you can, add those values, multiply, make it to be. So all the purpose here is just to make the lag for the camera manually instead of waiting for Epic Games to solve this, to make a function, a simple parameter to make the lag. But that's just going to be a future implementation. Progress. Going to make it work in progress. And that's if you want to have the camera lag, because maybe the camera lag is not going to be really needed. I think the camera lag could be needed when you're doing a finish animation, where the character is going to leave it's going to have a better effect when you have a very huge lag on the camera. So let's say a value of 4 or 5. It gives the sense of that the character is going off the camera, you know. It's a effect that is very good. I think it's used in probably some video games. Maybe it's a technique. I'm not sure, but it looks really good. Especially when you're doing a stealth action and you're going to kill an enemy somehow by playing an animation. Then the character gets off a little bit of the camera. And it's also used when you're, especially in The Last of Us, when you're going through walls. There's a narrow passage, and when you press space, the character goes too much forward and the camera gets behind of the character, and then after he passes through the narrow passage, the camera goes very fast back again to the characters to aim. So the camera gets close to the character so that he can get the control back of the locomotion. But so far it's very good. So in here, as you can see, you can edit the location in here. Let's say I want to give the maybe not in here, maybe directly in the camera itself. So in here you can set up a location. I think the right way is not to set up in here, but I think the right way is not to set up in here. But let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, it is going to work if you set the camera in here, because that's the root location of the camera. And all the parameters that are going to be followed in here. Let me just go to the rigs. As you can see, we have the balance thing. And if you click on the camera rig prefab, you have the offset. So here you have the offset. You can choose the offset that you want to have for the balanced aim. And you can also change it here, or you can also change it in here or in the code. So I prefer to let this parameter be 0 and manually change it inside of here. So the offset, you can change the offset in here. What else? So yeah, I think the style of following the pelvis, it's really going to depend on what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve more realism for the camera following the character, as you can see here, especially for third-person shooters, I think it gives more realism, but you have to, it gives more weight. It seems like the character is really walking because the camera is going, it's following the pelvis. So as you can see, when you stop, the camera also moves. But sometimes it's just a little bit too much. But as you can see, yeah, I ran out of bullets and I cannot reload. Yeah, that looks very nice. I like this result. Let's pick up an arrow. I don't like that when you reload and aim at the same time, it kind of snaps. Up. All right. Huh. This looks very nice. You can see the arrows glitching, sticking the metal. But so far it looks good. Or maybe we could also combine how much of movement you can add by combining two values. One is for we're going to use two values. One is for the spine of the character, spine 5 in this case. I think the spine 5 is the spine that less has movements. Let me just check it out. Yes, that's right. So the spine 1 is this spine right here, which moves, you know, if the character moves any of this part in here, do this, and this spine is going to move. The spine 5, where is the spine 5? We don't have the spine 5. Spine 5. Okay, there we go. I thought we didn't have. Okay, so the spine 5 is this one right here. So if you move the arms like this is good for shooting, I think. If you move the spine, if the camera follows the spine 5, I think it's good for shooting because you have, you know, the camera is going to follow the rotation and the location of how the character moves like this. The spine 1, yeah, it's up to you. I think it's going to be up to how you want the effect to be. You can test by attaching the camera on the spine 5 and then on the spine 1 to see the result. But so far I like this. Yeah, let's test the gameplay camera to be on the spine 1. As you can see, when you go left and right, the elbow gets in the camera, so I don't like that. This is bad because when you're going left and right, sometimes the elbow could interrupt the visibility when you're shooting the enemies. That's why I like so when you're aiming, I want the camera to attach to the spine 5 because that's the spine where the character moves his arm. But for the spine 1, it's good to attach when you're just walking because it has less movement, as you can see right there. The spine 1 is going to have less movement. Which is not going to add that much effect to the camera. Let me just see, I think there is one animation that is not playing for the idle. So random sequence player, 1. Okay, this animation is playing. I don't see one animation here. This animation I don't see a lot is the break 2. Let me increase the chance to play in here, let's say 7. the idle break 3. Okay, this animation I see. Now idle break 4. Yeah, this animation I don't see that much, but 5, 6. Yeah, this animation I don't see that much. I'm going to increase the probability to be 64. I'm going to divide this animation. I'm going to make a duplicate copy of this. I'm going to call this 7. And what I'm going to do here is just cut this animation from here. Because I like when the character goes. I like this animation a lot. So this is going to be 7. And I'm going to play this animation to be, set the chance to play to be higher. So right below in the index 7, I'm going to select the 7 idle break. Chance to play, I'm going to let that to be 1. Or maybe 1.5 just to test it out. Compile and see what's going to happen. The camera moving according to player movement is good. Yeah, it gives the motion that the character has, and it gives that motion to the camera. And the result is very good. How long, Ramsat said how long it would take to complete the entire project, and once it's done, we'll publish all the projector file. Projector. The project, yeah, as you can see, there is a snapping effect that happens in there. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure why we have the snapping effect at the end of the animation. Let me just see if there is a blend in. Because there's a blend in setting here, but I don't know if all of them are set to be true. As you can see, all of them are set to be true. And I'm not sure why there is a animation that is snapping. Maybe I could make this animation to be on the top in here, on the index 7, as this follows the hierarchy. I'm going to make the hierarchy following from V01 to V06 to 7. And then at the end, we have the neutral stand idle loop, which is just the normal loop stand position that the character gets to be in. Yeah, as you can see right there. It snaps. For example, would you like to share this final version in the video description? It would be nice. All these projects, especially the most recent projects, are available to premium members on my Patreon channel. And all the project files from 20 to 30 is going to be available to standard members. And all the project files from 0 to 10, I'm going to make it available for free. Yeah, I think it's not snapping anymore. I think it depends on which animation is playing. But the result, I think, is really good. Let me just open up, press F11 so that I can have the full vision. Yeah, sometimes it glitches there. I think I have might have a quick solution for this. Let me just see why it is glitching. If you take a look at the static mesh, let's go down to the collision, and as you can see, the camera visibility should be blocked. So let me just ignore the camera visibility. So play from here. Now I think it's fixed. But I think that could also be fixed through placing the camera a little bit backwards, because you can see the default the default location of where the camera is placed is on his ass. So that's why when you go, some animations, they play and the pelvis gets too much close, so that the camera glitches. And that causes the camera to glitch. So play from here. It is still having a little bit of effect. But then if you set the location to be a little bit back, like here. And then it'll be fixed. For Patreon, which tire should I choose, 10 or 20? $10 is the standard project, the standard tire, and the $20 is the premium tire, which gives you access to all. Well, regarding this project, not only is it going to give you the most recent version, for the premium, is basically so that the premium tire is going to give you the access for the most recent versions, which means as soon as I finish the stream, I basically compile the project file so that I can have access to it. So pretty much the premium members are going to have access to all the project files from the streams, for all the streams. And the standard members, whoever has the standard tire is going to have access to streams that are 10 devlogs below. So the standard tire is going to have access to devlogs from 20 to 30. So they're going to always have, the premium members are going to always have exclusive access before the standard members. I think that's it. And not only subscribing to one basically standard tire and premium tire, you're going to have access to all the other project files that I release on YouTube. All the YouTube tutorials, all the project files from all the YouTube tutorials, are going to have access to it. And depending on which tire you choose, for example, the premium has better improved code. So it's a little bit better. For example, this weapon system premium, for premium members, we have the barrel and all the pickup system based on where the weapon is. So if the weapon is in the ground, I don't know how to drop the weapon. I'm not sure if we have the drop ability. But if you get this should be in the ground. If you press F, as you can see, the character is going to bend to pick up the weapon. You have the explosive barrels. You have extra code to basically use for learning. That's just the purpose of the premium, for all the tires, just to take the project, take a look, see what you can get, see what you can study, study how the functions are done. There is also the documentation that you can also use for learning. For some projects, it's not all of them. It's mostly the most recent tutorials. They always have documentations. What's your GPU? My GPU is a 5070 RTX 5070. I had the RTX 5070 Ti, but for me it's just too much. There's too much power processing, and I don't really need that much. And I also really, I also needed the money to buy other things. So that's why I chose, like before, firstly I chose to buy the RTX 5070. And for the performance, I really liked it, but it's not really something that I really needed. It's just too much. So I decided to pick up and change to RTX 5070, which is also great. Before I had the RTX 3080, and the CPU is the i9. So yeah, that's going to be basically it, guys. I think I'm going to go now. The parent socket, I'm going to reset it to be based on the capsule location, because I'm gonna have to make a system, and that's something that I gotta do for the update and remove the gameplay camera. I think it's not going to be really needed for now, as we're not polishing the whole game. Maybe we're going to need the gameplay camera to be removed, and we're gonna have to do some other things. But I have some things in mind to do. Update and remove the gameplay camera. I think we're not going to remove it for now. Update the gameplay camera so that if the character is moving. So for normal locomotion, we're going to keep gameplay. I'm going to call this gameplay camera GC, gameplay GMC. We're going to call the gameplay camera to be GMC. Keep the GMC to follow, or just camera to just be easier to read. Follow the capsule. For aiming locomotion, we're going to keep the camera to follow the spine 5 bone of the character, because that's going to make it to be a lot more precise. You can really see the differences. You can, the gameplay camera has to be, the values has to be reset in here. The location. Okay, we have to reset this value and make this value to go up, I think 90 degrees. 90 Unreal units. As you can see, or maybe we could make the we could apply a small movement to the camera when the character does those pivots. I think it's going to be really cool to see that, but not too much. Just enough so that it gives the impression, so that it gives the impact that the character is changing direction. I think that makes the game to look really cool. But mainly to not affect the visibility for when the player is, you know, focused on the combat. Because sometimes the camera movement could make it to be, could make the combat to be a little bit more harder, because you have to, you know, as the camera moves on the screen, it gives this, it's a little bit more harder to focus on the enemies that are going to be after you. Hopefully that makes sense. The parent socket, I think I'm going to set it to be spine 5, but that's going to be after. So if you set it to be spine 5, or actually if you don't set it to be spine 5, if you, as you can see, the character moves, you don't have that much of precision. As you can see, sometimes when the character moves, you can really see the whole body of the character. Let me just... When the character pivots, as you can see, the character changes direction, and I don't like that. And the reason why is because the camera is following the capsule component. Now, if it follows the spine 5, which is a really good socket to follow when you're aiming, I'm just going to reset this. Now, as you can see, now the camera is following the character. Now I'm going to press on play, and let's just see that. As you can see now, the arm is a lot more stable. We can really see, even if you pivot to the left or right, you can really see the weapon being held. Sometimes the weapon goes. Maybe we're gonna have to do some IK to fix the arm going up or down when you're aiming, but that's going to be for the polishing phase. We're not worried about that right now, so we're just chilling. So as you can see, we have a lot more stability when you're aiming. When you get the rifle as well, you have a lot of stability, and that makes it so that your player is going to have a lot more precision when aiming into enemies, and that's the whole purpose. And combining the camera setup with the blue line trace, as you can see right now, it's of course up. I'm gonna have to adjust the offset based on the weapon, as I've already said. Combining these two setups, the blue line trace and the camera, is going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect for combat, and it's going to allow players to have a much more precision aiming. So yeah, that's going to be it. Let me just write the things to do. So for the thermal locomotion, keep the camera to follow the capsule, and for the aiming locomotion, keep the camera to follow the spine 5 bone. For the blue line trace, we're going to make the crosshair appear as well, and decide how we should play the shooting animation effects. Add more animations for the bow, but that's just for polishing, of course. So add instance to the bow. And later we're going to make the UI for ammo and type of weapon. Type of weapon reholding. Make UI to show and whoops. I've deleted everything. Make UI to show ammo quantity slash capacity, because so the quantity that is already loaded into the weapon, and the capacity for the ammo as well. Show ammo quantity and capacity. Let me see what else. The pistol model. Not pistol model, weapon model. And that's it. Now, for the blue line trace, we're going to make the crosshair to appear where the make the crosshair appear especially more when the character aims. The crosshair will appear right in the middle of the screen where the blue line is. We're going to also make the grenade. Yeah, there's a lot of other things I want to do. I can kill all day writing down things to be added. But these are the things I have in mind right now for the next vlogs. We can choose which one we can work on first. And the other thing, one task that we should always worry about doing is just refine the code and making the code as clear as possible when adding new features. I have some other bugs to resolve. I'm going to do in the live stream. I'm going to be doing off the live stream. I'm going to be doing off screen. So that at the end, when all the features are done, all the features are pretty much done, I'm going to be doing a documentation. But maybe these devlogs are going to be expandable to, devlog. I don't know, I'm going to expand this devlog to 100, maybe 130. I'm going to stop in there because the locomotion is going to be done, and that's pretty much what I do, just locomotion. And yeah, that's going to be it. So